Our buddy Pat Robertson from the 700 Club once asked God to remove justices from the Supreme Court in order to give President Bush more opportunities to put conservatives on the court. He received an email question on the 700 Club asking, why didn't God punish the justices who voted in favor of abortion rights in that landmark abortion decision, Roe versus Wade? And here's what Robertson had to say. Prepare yourselves.
Okay, Pat, this is from Eugene, who says, excuse me, my wife and I are lifelong 700 Club members. We often hear how the Republicans are so against abortion and Democrats are so pro-choice. But this was not the case on the Roe v. Wade decision. 3 Nixon appointees, Blackmun, Powell, Berger, and 2 Eisenhower appointees, Brennan and Stewart, comprised a Republican majority, even without the 2 Democrats, Marshall and Douglas, voting. Why are these men not called out for the genocide against the unborn? Why did they all live to be such an old age after committing such a despicable act that has brought a curse upon the land? Please set the record straight.
Well, you'll have to ask God why he didn't kill him. I'm not in charge of the death or life of the Supreme Court judges. So it's in God's hands whether they live a long life. But that thing was called Blackmun's abortion, and Blackmun indeed was a Nixon appointee. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, Pat just doesn't know, Lewis, why God doesn't strike down individuals who make legal decisions. He just doesn't know why.
This is great. Pat Robertson has an answer for everything, right? But when he doesn't have an answer, he just says, well, ask God. But, you know, I thought God talks to Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson has like a personal relationship with God. So, yeah, I guess Pat doesn't have all the answers.
Maybe the answer is that the reason God doesn't individually kill Supreme Court justices when they make decisions that Pat Robertson believes are anti-biblical, maybe the explanation is that if God is real and is in charge of the entire universe, managing the minutia of smiting individuals on one court, in one country, on one continent, on one planet, in one solar system, within one galaxy of the entire universe, is a little bit too micro, even for the all-powerful God.
Well, I think Pat Robertson would say, or some of his listeners might say that, well, this is the only planet with life. We are still maybe not the center of the solar system, but the center of the universe. And, everything takes place here. So, yes, God is determining the outcome of football games and deciding which individuals die.
Is it possible that God is okay with abortion, or maybe that God isn't real? You'd think that Pat Robertson would at least consider that possibility when asked, hey, you say abortion is just so anti-God and anti-everything God wants, and I just don't understand why God didn't kill those Supreme Court justices. Maybe God's not against abortion, or maybe God just isn't real.
Oh, I don't think asking if God is real or not will get you very far with Pat Robertson, but perhaps you could enter a discussion with him about whether or not God is okay with abortion. I mean, maybe some people could interpret it that way.
The scariest part of all of this for me, Lewis, is that the person who emailed Pat Robertson asking that question, assuming that it was an honest question, probably votes.
Probably. It seems like a satirical question, but you're right. It's probably a real question from a voter, and it's terrifying.
I don't know that I've ever heard a question on the Pat Robertson show, the 700 Club, that didn't sound like a satirical question. But as we know, a lot of times these right-wing questions are indistinguishable from satire.
That's true. Yes, there are really highlights how many whack jobs are out there and how many people live under rocks.